It was a bit strange about the finish, the ending of this film. There was so much layers and rewrites and changement of over the ending of the film that for me never really I never really got the real ending of the film. I don't know if there was really an ending for this film.
There was quite an elaborate ending that was much different than how the film ends.
Initially, the Betty was to crash land on Earth, because the whole idea was to actually move the whole alien myth down to a new level and leave a door open, which was Earth, which you sort of get at the end of this one, but it's still very ambiguous. But in that initial script, it wasn't. The whole idea was that you now have landed on Earth by the end, by the last page, and you sort of know where the next film is going to take you. Even though, presumably, the alien is dead, it's just going to somehow, it must have laid an egg while falling or something. And so basically, in the window dressing department, there was debate over where the ship crashed. Did it crash in the water? Did it crash in the desert? And I think the suggestion, which Jean-Pierre liked immensely, was to have that particular ship crash land in a futuristic boneyard, which would be the sort of equivalent of today's high desert airplane areas where you see these giant 747 carcasses. And Jean-Pierre said, wouldn't it be nice if we did this with spaceships? And this is where the final battle with the newborn alien takes place.
There's this elaborate chase sequence with what are kind of like combines, you know, in the fields of wheat, that sort of thing. But they're kind of, they levitate, sort of thing, but they are like farm equipment of some sort. And they actually have a whole battle that takes on that goes on with Ripley and on the planet's surface with Ripley and the newborn.
We actually went quite far with it and designed it as a possible set, matte painting, etc. But even that turned out to be too expensive.
I bet you're not too anxious to see them.
The green screen shot was actually the last bit of shooting from, the sort of main production schedule. And it was Ripley and Call crash landing in the snow. And basically there was a bit of dialogue. You sort of saw the ship just splatter in the snow. And they come out and they just sit there, and in the distance is a city. And they haven't gone to it yet. And the studio was really keenly amused with the idea that Jean-Pierre was French and that all of his sort of Frenchness could be tapped into. And one of the ideas, for instance, they had was why not crash land the Betty somewhere near dunes or something where all you see is part of the Eiffel Tower rising out of the sand, saying something about something, I don't know. That sounds like executive, decision makers thinking, really. Nothing else. Nothing else can generate an idea like that.
I know the studio wanted to finish on Earth. It was the first idea, but I knew from the beginning it won't happen because it's too expensive. We need another big budget to finish the film with a very spectacular ending for the movie. And I prefer from the beginning to finish on the spaceship. I know it was a little bit too close to the second one and the first one too, but I think it was more clean to finish like this, more than to have an ending very cheap on Earth.
They were thinking, maybe we leave them in space, just above Earth, and deal with the fact that what's going to happen. Here, these two people in their story, they're coming back to Earth, and what story will they tell, and what is still left. But for whatever reason, it was an idea, and it became the one that was cemented in everyone's mind. And as you see, it's the two of them. We did a little shoot at the end where we have them in a small set piece where they're looking down, and we add reflections of Earth that were taken from NASA satellite photos and then augmented, and we put clouds over them, gave movement, and gave you the sense that, okay, they've arrived at Earth, and they have some dialogue, and that's it. That's the end of the movie. Would it have been stronger if they had gone down? It's debatable. It was an interesting. I liked it, you know, from a visual effects standpoint. It had a lot of great stuff, but you know, decisions are made for any number of reasons, and you live with it. And we certainly had a great body of work already in the film.